Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from RealityArtPod, here to talk about Week 3's live Thursday eviction show, Big Brother 27. Last time on Big Brother, Bad Guys 2, Bad Guys 2, Keanu won the veto, more Bad Guys 2, Adrian on the block. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist. To catch up on my recaps, if you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. You can also use my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it, starting with our Thursday night tradition. You know what time it is?
What's Julie wearing?
Ooh la la.
Exquisite.
Julie is dressed to match the big B on the wall. You know she means big business. Julie's wearing a green two-piece suit with Chips Ahoy buttons, 4 bracelets that each look like watches. Who designing this outfit thought this woman needs 2 pockets in the front of her backwards corset top? A businesswoman on the go needs 2 pockets, one for my clicker to speak to the house guests, the other for my beeper to let my beloved Les know it's time to pick me up at 6:01. As Julie herself would say, she's my mint chocolate chip ice cream drop in this outfit. I'm joking. Back to the house, Lauren nominated Adrian. After a successful pressure campaign from Rachel, Morgan, Mickey, and Ashley, Lauren feels like she made the best move for herself. Kelly is feeling overwhelmed and emotional, feeling like she's doomed on Thursday. Her friend Vince doesn't even know if he can do anything to save her. Lauren and Catherine meet. They don't want Kelly or Adrian to go home. They're fine with Will going home because he's on the other side of the house. One side is all the girls, Jimmy and Will. The other side is the rest of the guys, Kelly, Kat, and Lauren. Will is struggling to connect with the other players. He feels like he's in a frat house and the other players are nasty as hell. He doesn't want to campaign against Adrian. He says Adrian's such a nice young man, he doesn't even curse, with the show making sure to remind us that Adrian uses terms like mother flippers. Mickey and Morgan's distrust of Jimmy leave them wanting new connections. Morgan suggests that they make a final four with Vince and Zach, but this leads Mickey to be really annoyed with Morgan for being so close to Vince and Zach, but Morgan was trying to include her, so from the edit we saw, she shouldn't be that annoyed. There's a growing appetite in the house to flip a vote against Will, with Lauren's side of the house slowly starting to flirt with the idea, but what's really important is the house is running out of bread because Adrian is on a date with the bread. He's flirting with the bread and tells the producers he would like a big bread body pillow. Now let's keep this little joke out of the bedroom before it becomes a TMZ article. Zach tells us he's trying to drive a wedge between Morgan and Mickey, so Zach rats Mickey out to Morgan, telling Morgan that Mickey's been going around the house saying that Morgan, Zach, and Vince have a final 3. Now Morgan is wary of Mickey. She's got to work this out in the boxing ring. Our $1 million baby sorts things out by punching that bag. Meanwhile, Lauren, Zach, and Vince think they can get 7 votes they need to evict Will over Adrian. They'd need to get Ava's vote to be able to avoid a 6-6 vote where Lauren has to break the tie live on air. We jump past a lot of strategizing right to present day, where we're playing the BB Blockbuster competition. Adrian's locked in with his visionary glasses, but what he didn't account for are his 2 competitors also have glasses. That's right, 12 eyes on stage. They'll play Study the Study. There are 2 nearly identical studies. They need to count the differences between the rooms and lock in an answer with a minute and a half on the clock. The player who guesses closest to the correct answer without going over will win the Blockbuster. So they get started in our weekly 2 minutes of house guests, meandering confused on live TV. With a good chunk of this where there's nobody on screen at all, Kelly locks in 7 quickly, Adrian with 6, and Will an astonishing 16. There are 8 differences, meaning Kelly wins the Blockbuster, winning her safety for the 3rd week in a row. Honestly, incredible. This is also the outcome the house guests were really hoping not to have happen. Julie talks to the house, who are all wearing blue this week. Again, no communication with Julie's stylist. They reveal that Kelly won, and everyone's giving Adrian consolation hugs, but Adrian still has some fight in him. He's begging people to keep him. As Lauren, Zach, and Vince are meeting on the sidelines, we get speeches. I thought Will was about to call Julie his lemon drop, but Will gets really choked up about having to go against Adrian. Everyone's really emotional. This might be one of the hardest evictions in a long time. It's Adrian's turn. He cries and begs, saying he needs the money for his family, and he and Will hug. That was sweet. So we get to the votes. Vince is first to vote and votes to evict Adrian, so I instantly knew where this was going. Everyone votes to evict Adrian besides Keanu, Catherine, Riley, and Kelly. Julie reveals that by a vote of 8-4, Adrian's evicted, but not before he gets his water, as he's thirsty as fudge, and he leaves with his bread in his hand. I loved when he gave Julie a hug and put that bread in her hair. So he does his interview with his bread, calling the other players a bunch of chickens. He says he would have targeted Rachel had he stayed, and Keanu and Jimmy, and he says the house guests are keeping Rachel around because nobody's gonna let her win a second time, no matter what. He panders to Julie, saying he learned love one another. Julie says if only the house guests were loaves of bread. And with that, we say goodbye to Adrian, who made a big splash with his preseason interviews. He was the biggest personality in those, saying he was going to be the best to ever do it, which made a lot of us feel like he could be an epic crash out first boot, but we never saw that Adrian again, in the house or the diary room. He had friends in the house, but for the most part was an outsider who was never involved in anything important. He rarely talked game if his life wasn't on the line, but I think he's a sweetie, and we barely got to see his potential play out as a competitor. He should not have gone home this week, so this eviction feels icky. I'd love to see him on the challenge. I feel like he could be an interesting person to add to that mix. looks. But based on the fact that he was one way in his auditions and another way in the house, the production team may be over him by now and not want him back on anything. I'm bummed that we never got to see him play the wall comp. That is honestly such a sin. Rest in power, King Adrian. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Kelly winning the Blockbuster and Adrian's eviction. Who do you want to win HOH? I'll be back later tonight with my week 3 player rankings. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye.